What is up, guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the KickAsh Podcast live via One True Sport. It is Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Good morning, good morning. I appreciate you joining. If you're watching me live, good morning, good morning. If you're watching on replay, good whatever time of the day it is for you. I appreciate you guys popping in. We have so much to talk about, so I am not going to waste too much time. Of course, we have the AEW pay-per-view coming up tomorrow, but we do also have a lot to talk about from WWE and Elimination Chamber. This is the first time that I've been back on Winter Sports since the infamous John Cena heel turn, right? So we will definitely chat about that, go over some quick thoughts on that, and then shift over to AEW Dynamite as well, because that is the big show of the weekend, and we have to be fair, right? John Cena can't dominate any and all conversations, right? But I'd be remiss if I didn't at least chat about it a little bit and then touch on a little bit of what happened on SmackDown last night as well. I thought SmackDown was a pretty decent show. I still can't wait for them to go back to the 2 hour format. But it is what it is, you know. I mean, it's a better feeling, at least knowing that it's temporary, right? But I think they're doing a good job, at least, or they're trying to do a good job. I still wish that they would devote a little bit more time into the women's like mid card division, you know, and continue to focus on that. But I loved what they did with Bianca and Naomi, so I definitely want to chat about that as well. But good morning, everyone in the chat as well who is filing in. I appreciate you guys for joining me. I have a little bit of the allergies, so I apologize if I sound a little nasally or anything crazy like that. But yeah, that's all business aside, right? You guys know where to follow at. If you're not subscribed to One True Sport, please hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps out. And if you would like, and if you feel ever so inclined, right, to go ahead and like the show here, or you can dislike as well. I just always like to know if you dislike why. Just because I like to know, right? But whatever you do, we appreciate it because it does help out in the algorithms here, all that good stuff. So I appreciate that. And I know everyone here at One True Sport does as well, and Browsing Media, of course. But with that out of the way, I do want to get right into it because, like I said, we have so much to talk about. It's kind of crazy. But good morning, everyone in the chat as well. Good morning, E, my guy E, back in the chat. I love you, man. You're so great. You're so great. You say LA Knight is the best. Yes. So I'll just obviously bring that up now. Great way to start off the show there, E. LA Knight is our new U.S. champion. He defeated Shinsuke Nakamura last night. I'm wondering what you guys think about that. Man, at this point, I'm kind of just like accepting where Nakamura is. You know what I mean? I was hopeful maybe this U.S. title run would do something to elevate him a little bit more. It's been fine, I guess, but I kind of looking back on it, I'm not gonna say it was maybe the wrong call to take it off of LA Knight because it did create a good moment last night. And honestly, like if he had been holding the title this entire time, he may have run out of opponents himself, which is another issue as well. But and it's crazy to say too, because right, the roster is so deep. But kind of like what I was referencing earlier with the women's mid card division, you need to continue to devote attention to building talent, right? Like your Carmelo Hayes and stuff like that, which they have been in Andrade, but I don't know, it just feels like there's still something missing and just a little. I feel like there's not one person solely devoted on that, right? And if you guys remember, like in the past, it would always be like, oh, like Vince would always say, like, what do we have for The Rock, Stone Cold, and like a couple key guys, and then everyone else would kind of just handle, you know, the rest of the cards. And not to say that he obviously didn't have a say in it, and he would obviously be there and involved, but his main focus was the big talents, right? And I'm not saying that's the case right now. I'm just saying that it sometimes feels that way, you know, like they're the big guys and the big gals are getting so much attention, and the mid card, it's almost like if you're not like a Chelsea Green where your character is so out there that you may get lost in the shuffle. So I hope after WrestleMania season we get a little bit more focus on that as well, just to really add more substance to that section of the card, because everything else is just kicking, right? And I'm not even saying it's necessarily lacking. I just think that like an area of improvement, right? But all in all, man, like it's still amazing to me that WWE has been able to keep this hot streak of momentum going for what 2 years now. So props to them, man. It's crazy. And Cody Rhodes, which we'll obviously talk about here in a second. My goodness, man, I've said it before. It's just amazing to me the type of babyface that he is and the type of character that he is and how beloved he is. But I'm not going to say the entire, right? Because there's always a few outliers, but I would say what, like 95, 96, 97% of the fan base, including obviously men, right? That was John Cena's thing in the past. You know, you would always hear the women and the kids cheering for John. But it got to that point where the men were the majority of the men were booing, right? And you had that strong, dominant fan base that was just booing the heck out of him. And the fact that he, being Cody Rhodes, has that core fan base on lock is just amazing to me, and it really stood out to me last night, especially being in Philly. With that, I'm not sure if that was their first time being back in Philly since WrestleMania, and obviously Cody Rhodes won. But it was just really cool to see them back in Philly, and I think that was a pretty like ideal place for him to be. The follow up after the Elimination Chamber and everything. It was a cool and just luck of the draw. I'm sure. Obviously, they planned this shit in advance, but a cool setting for him to be in to follow that up in. So. Good morning to everyone else in the chat though as well. EU, you got me going there. But good morning, Sean. What up, man? I'm great. How are you? I was listening to you on PW Torch a little bit last night, Sean. What up? CB, you said I called it. I had the heel turn between Punk and Cena. Yeah, man. Yeah, you were right. What up, boss? What up, bro? What up? The boss, she said, good morning, Ash. When did you start watching wrestling? Oh, shoot. I remember, and it bugs me because I wish I could like pinpoint the time, like the exact episode it was, but I remember the first early memory that I have was just like a random SmackDown episode that my best friend as a kid had turned on, and I just remember just being so engaged with the TV and just like so like fascinated by what they were doing. And I was never really a big like cartoons or TV kid. Like, trust me, I love my cartoons, but like I never was like, oh, like I had to be glued to the TV. I was more like outside, like doing puzzles and shit, like just kind of like doing my own like weird shit, kind of like that weird kid. But wrestling, man, like it got a hold on me, and so I would say that was probably like the earliest memory was God, it was like I want to say like 98, 99. But once I like 2000, 2001, 2002 especially, but 2001, 2002 is when I really was old enough to start like grasping what I was watching and like, oh yeah, this shit is great. And I've been watching it ever since, man. Been watching it ever since. I try to take a guess on my age. But yeah, I've been watching it ever since, man. I wasn't even one of those fans that took a time off or a break when the shit got like terrible. I just stuck along with it. And to me, like, yeah, it's been bad, but wrestling has just always had like a weird hold on me. Like I've never even contemplated like stop watching it. No, I'm not gonna say I sit here and watch it religiously, right? Like I'm not gonna say like I haven't missed an episode or like I watch it live the second it comes on. I if I can, I obviously do, but if I want to go get dinner, like especially now with the luxury of having streaming and stuff, like back in the day, when it was more appointment viewing, I was 100% glued in to the TV, you know what I mean? But nowadays, since you can watch it on the go, like I'll be doing shit, like I'll have it on my phone. But yeah, man, that's a pod for another day, man. I can ramble on and on about that. CB, you said KickAsh Podcast. Did you cry when John Cena turned heel like all the kids all over the world? No, man, but I was fucking shocked. I will say that. I was blown away. I was actually doing a watch along on my channel on KickAsh Podcast. Thanks for the shout out there. And yeah, so I was watching along with some friends over there, the little chat we have going on, and I was shocked, dude. I was shocked. And someone I think threw a timestamp in the watch along that I did, so you can check it out if you'd like. It's crazy. What up, Sai? What up? Good morning, friend. Yeah, he did. Sai said, "As CP, I called the Cena turn on this stream last week, but I'm a smart ass." Nah, dude, you're right though. But yeah, Sean, some of the reactions were a little ridiculous, and it kind of makes me cringe. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of the content creators, I guess it's called, like they're so and people in the audience too, especially like people are just so about their like getting getting their 15 minutes or whatever, dude, and it's just I don't know, it's just really cringe to me, man. I don't know, like to me, like I don't even really enjoy watching reaction like videos or whatever, like I don't it's just I don't know, like I don't know. If I'm doing like a watch along with someone and or something like that in a review show, 100%. But like, I don't seek out like those like WWE did like a compilation of like people's reaction clips, and to me, it's just kind of like it just seems so fake. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure like or just amplified. I guess I'll say, but whatever. But yeah, so I will get to the SmackDown portion here though because like I said, we have a shit ton of stuff to talk about. The couple of takeaways from SmackDown. Of course, Randy Orton's promo. I think Randy Orton, he was out there a long time though. I was kind of surprised. To get to a point there, I was like, damn, like how long is he staying out here? But it was good. You know what I mean? Like I've gotten to the point where I've kind of found this new like respect for Randy Orton and what he's doing, because when you think about how long this dude has been going, and he hasn't even been one of those that's taken time off to go do movies or just have a part-time schedule ish. Now he hasn't been completely full-time like every week type shit, but he's up there. Like I would be very curious to see how many like lifetime matches he's had in comparison, and how many events he's wrestled at and stuff like that, because he's got to be up there. And just seeing him back on SmackDown and obviously seeing his return at the Elimination Chamber, he really just adds a different layer to the roster. And I think it's interesting because he's not one of those like, oh my god, like you're like this is gonna sound terrible and disrespectful. I mean, I don't mean it that way, but he's not one of those where it's like you can at least before I say this, at this point, just because of how like insanely stacked the WWE roster is. But thankfully, we're at a point where when he's been gone, like it's not like a huge hole that's been missed, but it is one where when you start to talk about the roster, you're like, damn, yeah, and we have Randy out there too, and to me, Randy is still a key utility player. And I don't know if that sounds like demeaning. And again, I don't mean that either, but I mean that in the sense where he's one of those rare performers that, especially in the main event scene, that he can adapt to anything, really. He's kind of like Kevin Owens, where he can be a good guy, a bad guy, but whatever he does, he makes you believe in it. And he really makes you and he makes it make sense, right? Now, of course, in the past, like with different booking, like shit has been, all peaches and cream over here, you know what I mean? But he has a way of really adding his own influx onto what he says. So I really dig his character right now, and I like the direction that he's going in, especially calling out Kevin Owens. I think that it just hit, you know what I mean? It was a little long, like I said, but other than that, I'm happy he's back. I'm really anxious to see after WrestleMania what he ends up doing, though, because I feel like this version of him is only gonna last for so long. This good guy version of Randy, as much as I'm enjoying it, right? I think he's just destined for an interaction with Cody, and now with everything going on with Cena and The Rock and Cody, I don't know how quickly we would get to that, or if of course they're not, then they shouldn't be in any rush. So you can kind of hold Randy in your back pocket. But maybe like a SummerSlam time thing, again, depending on the layout and however, and if Cody even retains his championship, I mean, and that's, we'll get into that obviously on a different show, but it's just kind of interesting to me where Randy is at. And when you think about, again, like how long he's been around, like you talk about how long Cena's been there, like Randy's been there in the grind for just as long, if not longer. I think they debuted around the same time frame, but obviously like Cena went and did Hollywood shit. But shout out to Randy, man, because he's a effing unit, bro. Like that dude is jacked. Like what? Like especially when he came out of the chamber, I was like, Jesus, bro, like he's been pumping weights, man. He bulked up, like he didn't look like drastically different, but it was just like, oh man, like I forgot how jacked this dude had gotten. But yeah, so I really enjoyed that, and I like what they're doing with Kevin Owens. It makes me wonder though where we're going with Sammy at WrestleMania. I don't think it's going to be a triple threat with him, but I don't know, like because you can't just leave Sammy off with a WrestleMania card, right? So very very curious to see what we do with Sammy going forward. Also, SmackDown, yo, Bianca and Naomi killed it. I know, like I said, I listened to like one and a half shows, not even a full show, but I listened to some reactions on like PW Torch and regarding like Bianca and Naomi and stuff, and I do see where people may not have liked it just maybe wasn't their cup of tea, the emotion, the extent of the emotion, like the tears and the stuff. But to me, I feel like it was ideal, and I feel like especially Naomi for being able to cry on cue like that. Props to her because I can't, man. Like it's sometimes I wonder like, yo, what's wrong with me? But Naomi did a fantastic job, and I think that was probably one of her like top promo moments. You know what I mean? Like, and I was wondering how Bianca was going to handle it as well. And from this jump, when Bianca's music hit, the fact that she came out, I loved her attire too because she looked very pretty and very classy, like like very like fancy, like and she looked like Bianca, but it was a more toned down, and it wasn't like her gear on Monday, right? It was still fancy, but it was kind of fitting for the segment and the moment that she was going to, right? Almost like a funeral type thing. But I just thought she looked amazing, and then her demeanor. The second her music hit, she didn't come out there. She wasn't swinging the braid. She wasn't laughing it up, and like, like she wasn't the dubious that Bianca that we know, right? And she wasn't out there skipping and like doing any of that. Nah, she was serious. She was walking to the ring, but she wasn't overreacting either. Like she wasn't out there like someone just died. Like I said, like I said, at the funeral, she wasn't going to that effect. I think it was just in the perfect realm, and I think she had the perfect reaction for it when she got in there and calling Naomi out. And I love the fact too that she kept it straight with Naomi, like Naomi, and just the whole segment, right? I felt like in my opinion, I don't think anyone really wrote this for them. I feel like they probably told them bullet points, right, and what direction they want the story to go in. And they had Bianca and Naomi just go out there and talk to each other like they would, because just the style and the way that they were talking, like there's no way that the creative team wrote that for them, and I love that because it really made me relate to Bianca more, and it really made me buy into why she was so upset even more. Because full disclosure, when I was watching the chamber, and she was reacting and freaking out in the pod, and she was like almost in tears. And the second her pod opened up, she ran to try to go save Naomi. And I was just like, really, like, why are you like, that's like a bit dramatic, like relax, girl. Like, yeah, like it's sad, like your friend's getting beat up, like I'm sorry, and you're confused, you don't know what's going on, all that, but like, bro, you're in a chamber match for a chance to, quote unquote main event WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So yeah, like you could be sad, but like no. But in all fairness, she did get, toughen up and get serious, and obviously ended up winning. So looking back on that and then seeing how she reacted on SmackDown, I'm a little bit more okay with it, just because now I'm learning that that's how the Bianca character reacts. Like she is emotional when it comes to her friends, you know what I mean? And now we know exactly why, because she felt that she was losing her two best friends. And yeah, like, like some people are more emotional than others, you know what I mean? Like some people wear their heart on their sleeve, whereas some people keep that shit locked up. So Bianca is the one on the sleeve. So I get that now. And that's the cool part about wrestling, you know what I mean? Like you just have to, it's a progression and it's a story, as it should be. So that's, at least that's my perspective on that part. But I like I was beginning to say, I love the fact that Bianca held Naomi to no, almost like, no, bitch, like, no, you're not gonna not answer me. Like, answer the fucking question, you know? Like, we've all been in that situation, whether it's been like confronting a cheating partner or like just someone in general, and like you're trying to confront them on something and they keep trying to change the subject, or they try to deviate from it, or they try to bring something else up, or just, you know, like answer without answering. And she's like, no, bitch, no, answer the question. It's yes or no. You know what I mean? So I loved that. And I loved what Naomi was doing too, because that's normal, in my opinion. That's what some people would do if they're confronted with shit and they don't want to answer, and they don't want to have to like really be truthful at that point. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, well, B, you know, nah. And I loved it. And I love that she called her BB and V and stuff like that, and not like Bianca Belair or EST or nothing like that, or Seth freaking Rollins. You know what I mean? Like, no, she called her what she would call her friend. And so I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed every aspect of it. At one point I was wondering if it was gonna be like Bianca was just upset that Naomi was getting attacked, and that she was maybe scared of Jade attacking her, like if they were in it on it together. But I'm glad it didn't end up going that way. I was one of those that a couple months ago, like I was advocating for a Bianca heel turn, just because, like I said, I think I even said it on the stream here last week. I am dying for a Bianca and Montez run as the power couple of WWE, man. Whether that's as a face or a heel for them both, like I see it, man. I see it, and I'm just like, I'm dying for it to happen for them. I just feel like they're both breakout stars waiting to happen. As crazy as it sounds, especially with Bianca, with how much of a made woman she already is, right? And a made star she is. I just feel like it could be elevated so much more. You know what I mean? Especially they had what that Hulu show was, like Love in WWE, I think, or I forget the exact name of it. But they've already branched out, and they already have that marketability. You already have that avenue and that platform, right? So I just, man, like I feel like there's just money waiting to be printed with them. So I don't think we're getting closer to that right now, which I'm kind of bummed about, but I'm still holding out hope, man. And I know it's gonna be one of those things that happens in the future. It's just, I'm just getting a little impatient, you know. But I'm very happy with how they extended and addressed, you know, and went to pretty much like chapter 2 or 3 for Naomi and Bianca. And I enjoyed Naomi, her reaction. She was like, yeah, I did it. You know, like when she got to that point, they were kind of arguing back and forth, and then she just got to the point. She's like, yeah, all right, I did it. And I was waiting for it, like, oh, I'm sure other people have thought about it too, but when she said, yeah, I did it, I heard, I did it for The Rock. Shout out Rikishi. You know what I mean? And keeping it in the family, you know? But that was just the first thing I thought of, which has, oh, well, I'm not gonna say no relation, right? Because Naomi's in the family, extended family now, but it was just great. It was just great. And then Jade coming out looking like fucking $1,000,000 again, dude, like a gladiator. I loved that suit and the blood splatter, and she even had it on her shoes. I thought it was great. I thought it was great. I don't know if that's a sign to come that she's gonna make Naomi bleed. I don't think she made her bleed at the chamber. I think she was just like, she just beat her up, and she being Naomi ended up being in a neck brace. But Jade looked great, man, and I think this is a good platform for Jade as well. The match is gonna be very interesting, and I'm kind of intrigued to see like how they extended, like, is this going to be the Mania match for Jade? Like, it has to be, right? But we still have what, a month and some change until WrestleMania, so I hope they add more layers to this. Or are we just gonna like kind of like revisit it like 2 weeks from now and kind of like space it out that way, or what are we gonna do? So it'll be interesting to see how they extend that going forward. Yeah, sigh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sadly, I was. Well, I mean, not sadly, because I'm happy to be alive, but yeah, bro. Yes, yes, indeed. Oh, yeah, dude. The boss, perfect start with the Attitude Era. Doesn't hurt to watch the Golden Years. Nah, man, nah. And especially in, well, with the network, the WWE network, and of course what we have now with Peacock, I love going back and watching like classic shit. So I am that person to go back and watch. I'll watch some of the older shit before I watch some of the more recent shit sometimes. Oh, interesting. So I say the whole UK started watching wrestling in the early 90s. The cable TV industry was launched based on the WWF. Wow. That's fascinating. Wow, dude. Thank you for sharing that. And you also say, "Sai, I'm not big on reaction videos. So much of it is clip farming, like the guy in the red dude. Yeah, oh, the red hat guy, just fucking annoying. Oh my god, just ridiculous, man. Like I hate when people make shit about themselves and they take like there's that one guy too. He's at random shows, but he gets a seat on the aisleway and he holds those little signs. It's like a sign like that big, and it says like the most random shit. And it's like, bro, like stop making it about yourself, dude. And especially when it's like a serious moment or whatever, and you just see like random like dumbass signs. Like I'm all for like speaking of the Attitude Era, I loved, and when I go back and watch the older shows, like I miss like seeing all those signs and stuff like that. So I love that shit. You know what I mean? I mean, it sucks when you're there because you can't see, but I love that shit. It really adds to the environment. It makes wrestling. But now we're at the point where people just have to make it about themselves, or they're trying to promote something, and it's like, bro, like, just enjoy the show, man. Like, why do you have to make dumbass signs? Like, I don't know. Like, it's different if you're making a funny sign and it's like mocking a wrestler, and like not in a mean way, but like you're like playing along with it, right? And it's wrestling related. But if you're just making up shit that like has nothing to do with wrestling and it's just like you're just trying to draw attention to yourself, like that's what you spend thousands of dollars potentially or hundreds of dollars on for that seat. Like, I don't know. And like to each their own, you know what I mean? Like you want to make sure you get your moment on TV, but it's like I don't know, man. And sometimes some of the signs like really ruin a shot too. Like, I don't know. But that's just me being, I guess, nitpicky or kind of maybe a bitch or whatever. Yo, yeah, CB, you say Randy Orton is not gonna RKO or you out of your chair. That would be fucking great, dude. I hit a reversal though. He can't get me that quick. He can't get me on the first try. Anthony, what's up, man? Anthony Mazzano, you say Randy is a tweener right now. I think it's just the fans are chewed for him or organically. Chewed for him organically, so it seems like he's a babyface. But yeah, dude. I see you said, what are your thoughts on my last three comments? Oh, that was the first one that I saw, bro. Let me see if I can go back and find. Oh, I see. You said him and John started around the same time. Randy debuted 3 months before John did. Okay, yeah, I thought it was because 2002, right? Because I know they were both in OVW as well. But yeah. And you said I thought John Cena would have done a promo last night, but he did him. Why do you think that WWE didn't do one with him? He's still filming. My thoughts and what I believe I heard was he was filming a movie in Budapest or some shit. And I heard maybe Peacemaker too. I don't really know if that's for certain or not, but he's filming some shit in Budapest. And I think he flew there right after the chamber or some shit. I don't know. But I also think that they have their next Raw is in Madison Square Garden. So I don't even think he's going to be there for that, if I heard correctly, which is crazy because you would think if he's going to be at any show, it'd be MSG. But yeah, man, I don't know. Brawls, you say Ash, Stone Cold, or The Rock, who's the bigger star? Oh, Stone Cold, 100%, dude. All day, every day for me. Also digging the 80-ounce. Sorry, you say also digging the 80-ounce coffee cup, Ash. It looks like a tribute. Yeah, dude, that's so. Yeah, the colors. Yeah, this is one of my favorite mugs. This is the one that was leaking the other week. And it's not this week. I have just another mystery, dude. Like this, the most random shit happens to me, man. But yeah, I love it. It's obviously from Starbucks, but shout out Starbucks. I'm just saying, man, y'all need a sponsor, hit us up. But I got it because of obviously the look of this, but the green top too, like the neon green, it just really stood out to me. I love it. It's great, but thanks, man. E-man, yeah, who said that? Oh my god, who said that? Cena is rock's bottom. God, who? Oh my god, why is it blanking on me? Who said that? Oh, it was Randy. It was Randy. Of course it was Randy. It was fucking great. So great. Yes, CB, I'm glad you said this because I meant to send it, like, post a tweet or something about it. Go to YouTube, WWE has just started a WCW channel. It's fantastic. Yes, I saw they posted a post on their community channel, I think, or something like that. I forget where I saw it. But yes, obviously, I mean, WWE doesn't need a plug, but I'm gonna do that after this. I can't wait to check that out because that's so cool. They said that they're gonna post like full shows, full pay-per-views, a lot of the classic like Clash of the Champions, like all that shit. So that's gonna be dope and a great way to watch it for free. You know, if you can't get Peacock or Netflix or wherever you're at in the world, and you can watch the older shows. If you don't have access to that, you can definitely subscribe to the WCW channel. I don't know the exact handle. You guys can check that out. But also the WWE Vault channel. That shit is just fascinating. They posted a match. It was between John Cena and Samoa Joe. It was a house show. Like I forget the year, but it was maybe like 2016, 17. Whenever Joe was there. But it was so cool. It was just like the one not hard cam, but the one camera set up almost like, so if you're like you're coming from the entrance this way, it's like looking towards the ring. No commentary, no nothing. It was really cool, but the Vault channel as well is pretty dope. So yeah, nice call out there, CB. Sean, you're about to be banned. This is unacceptable. This will get you banned, my friends. Starbucks is not overrated. Starbucks is not over. Okay, maybe a little bit, but no, if you guys knew the amount of money I spend on Starbucks, it's fucking, you guys probably would be ashamed of me. It's ridiculous. I don't really spend, like, I'm not even one of those that goes out and like drinks a lot or nothing like that. Like, I guess my vice is coffee, and bro, it's a fucking problem. Like, I should probably budget for Starbucks. It's that ridiculous. But moving on and wrapping up SmackDown, because like I said, we have a shit ton of stuff to get into still. We have the follow-up with our old friend Cody Rhodes, man. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. And talking about demeanor, the same way with Bianca, the same thing with Cody Rhodes, man. I loved how he came out, how his entrance started. He was not the standard Cody Rhodes. He didn't even do the whoa thing. He just stood there, and as the pyro was about to go off, he took the little ear thing out of his ear because he has a busted eardrum for fucking Travis Scott wailing on him. But I'm not gonna say the one moment, but one moment that stood out to me during his walk to the ring was of course his demeanor, right? His facial expressions, like I said, but he was all like stone faced the entire time, and he saw this little kid had like one of his robes like just decked out in Cody gear, and he smiled, dude. That was the first time that maybe the only time, but the first time that he smiled making his way to the ring. And I was like, dude, like that's why Cody is, like I was saying earlier, that's why he is the guy right now and the top babyface. And the fact that John Cena turned heel against him, I think speaks volumes as well. And I'll get to his promo here in a second, but whatever reason, just seeing him, like, it wasn't even like a full blown like Cody smile, you know, but he smirked, you know, and you could like, I don't know if that was the person Cody or just the character Cody, but that moment, like, just like giving that little fan like a handshake, you know what I mean, and acknowledging that little fan, it brought joy to Cody. Like I said, whether it's Cody the human, you know, like the real dude, or Cody the character, but that embodies what Cody's character is, in my opinion. That really shows why Cody is the ultimate good guy right now. And I'm so happy they didn't turn him heel, you know, right now. And again, like there's definitely, because you know, like there was another moment in the promo where I was like, oh, he's gonna be such a great bad guy though. And again, I hope maybe a year or two from now, depending on the layout, right? Like depending on how the lay of the land goes. But I will stand on that hill. You get the most out of this babyface version of Cody Rhodes that you can. And if it's like a John Cena thing where it extends years, then let it, you know. But I don't think they'll let it get to a point where it got with Cena, where people were turning on Cody, but they wouldn't acknowledge it, right? Like I feel like the second the tide starts to truly turn and it starts to be more overwhelmingly boos than cheers for Cody, or that's the general sentiment, because we can all tell, right? I think they'll pull the trigger. Obviously, like this regime, right? This Triple H era, they ain't afraid to do like off the wall shit. So I'm very much looking forward to that, but I'm so happy it's not happening right now. Because he's just, and like I was saying earlier, it's just amazing to me, and I'll never get over it how loved he is being this version of this character, right? He's the corporate guy. He is the corporate guy. He's the guy in the suit. He sleeps in that suit. I believe he sleeps in that suit. You know what I mean? Like he always, well, besides last night, always has a smile on his face. You know, like he's out there to do what he's got to do. He makes the roads, like makes the towns and all that shit. So I just really think they have something special with here. And I'm so, like, I don't want to say proud of him because that's weird, but like I'm just so fucking happy for the dude because he's just a like the ideal example of betting on yourself. Now, yes, you know, like he's a Rhodes, right? So he had that name, but that name, like it may have like helped open some doors for him, right? Or lead him down some pathways, but it was not a layup for him. And he really had to work for it. And he could have been mediocre as fuck. You know what I mean? Like he could have stayed that mid card dude or just fizzled out or been on the indie scenes right now and just, you know, like Cody Reynolds, you know, like because he couldn't use Rhodes for a while, like or Cody going back to Cody and Brandy Rhodes, you know, and being introduced like that. But and wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But he said, "No, fuck this, man. Like I know my value, I know what I can be," and he created that for himself. So I'll always have my respect for him for that because it doesn't always happen that way, and it just really takes like that special drive and that special individual. You know what I mean? And he really capitalized on it. So props to him, man. But I think his promo last night, the fire that he showed and the passion that he showed, and the fact that he really like he wasn't making excuses because I was kind of concerned, like, or he would try to make an excuse for The Rock, or well, not for The Rock, but for John Cena. Like, you know, it'd be like, you know, like Cena, this isn't you. Like, you know, like let's just talk about it, man. But no, like he was fired up. He was like pretty much F this, you know. And he didn't say that this time, but he did apologize for his language. But he was like, "This is the John Cena. Like, this is the real you, man." Like, and it's obvious. And I love the way he ended it. He was like, "It's obvious you want some, so come get some." And I just thought that was great. I just thought that was great. And the fire and the passion that he had, just insane. So I think he really delivered. And I'm again like someone I mentioned in the chat. I hope that he comes back soon, and I hope that his filming or whatever wraps up quickly. Because this is the retirement tour, bro. Like, this is your time. Your last time is now. So, like, let's go. And again, like I I almost understand, and even if he was available, I kind of don't disagree with not having Cena come out immediately on Raw. I think it was probably a good idea to let a week go by, really milk all the reactions and milk all of the segments out of it that you can, and then you have Cena come out. But I think the ideal place would be Madison Square Garden, right? So if he's not going to be there, that's, you know, a bummer. Just for the ideal setting, but it is what it is, man. You know, you can only do what you can do, but I'm sure they are just thrilled to have him available for this last run anyway. But we will be wrapping up with WWE and shifting over to AEW Revolution. We do have a pay-per-view this weekend for AEW. It is sadly not a Saturday pay-per-view. It is airing tomorrow on Sunday, which it is what it is. But if you know me, man, I love those Saturday pay-per-views. Can get the card pulled up here really quick. Overall, though, I think the hype and the build for Revolution is been better. The card is stacked too, so it's a really good card, and it's again, it's like a broken record, man. Just you can just record this and play it on every AEW preview show for their pay-per-views. But their pay-per-views always deliver. You know what I mean? It's not an issue on if the pay-per-view is going to be minimum good, if not great. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of the times it's the build going into it. But I think that they've had a much better build going into Revolution. I remember going into oh my gosh, Grand Slam Australia thinking, man, like is there gonna be enough buffer between this quote unquote big show and then the pay-per-view? Especially with the early onset of us knowing it was already gonna be Adam Copeland versus Moxley, essentially, once we got there at Revolution. So I was wondering if it was gonna like kind of fade out too soon, but it didn't. Now obviously we'll be talking about the the Mox and Copeland match once we get to that point. But overall, I think they've done a pretty good show, or a pretty good job building to the show. And it's going to be a great pay-per-view. You know what I mean? I hate saying that word great because that's Tony's keyword, right? His buzzword. But I think it's really going to be, it's going to deliver. Now, I just hope it doesn't fucking go past midnight. But we'll see. We'll see. Because actually, how many matches do we officially have? Yeah, I was about to say should be at least 10. Yeah, including the preview show. It's 10 total. God, I hate having to talk about that shit. Well, like the fact that this dude is like actually under contract is just a little absurd to me, but I will do my job. Well, this isn't a job, but I will do my part and talk about that match. That on the pre-show. If you know, you know, man. If you know, you know. And it is a pretty cool banner, like a pretty cool promotional poster that they have, rather. But I will say too, I'm surprised we didn't get any unless we get it on Collision. Is Collision live tonight? I wonder if Collision is live tonight, or if they taped it after Dynamite. But I am surprised we didn't get any reference or any Young Bucks sighting, with this being in their backyard. Literally, like, they don't have to fly anywhere. Relax, guys, you don't have to go anywhere, but you just travel a little bit in your home state. But I'm wondering if after the tag match we're gonna see the Young Bucks pop up or anything like that. They are the New Japan Tag Team Champions. Of course, everyone has championship titles, so if they do show up, I wonder if it would be like a champion versus champion type vibe, or if they just show up and without the titles, or they don't show up at all. But I was kind of surprised we didn't get any type of like, well, I guess maybe I shouldn't, because I don't think the Hurt Syndicate was on Dynamite, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm just, it's the whole thing with the Bucks, man, it's just so weird. And I was thinking about it when I was watching Raw, and CM Punk did that just fantastic promo and opened up the show. Oh, it was just one of his best promos since he's been back in WWE, if not the best one. I loved a pissed off Punk, man. Like, there is no better CM Punk than when he's pissed off about something, and I loved it. But it after, or I think it was like maybe while I was watching his, like, as he was, airing his grievances, or maybe right after he finished, I was just thinking, like, bro, like, I'm sure Tony Khan is just between Punk hitting on all cylinders and Cody Rhodes. Like, I would be sick if I was Tony Khan, dude. I'd be just effing sick, man. But it is happy for them as people, but just sick that I had them. I had them in my and at the same time, I had them in my company. Oh, it would drive me nuts, bro. Because you're never gonna get them back, especially CM Punk. You're never gonna get them back. I would be shocked if Cody Rhodes ever went back, and not even on the like, oh, like, fuck AEW, nothing like that. Just why? Like, why would either of them leave WWE to go back to AEW? Just make it make sense type thing. And again, no shame, or no like, oh, like, nothing crazy like that. Just like, why? It just financially wouldn't make sense. Like, none of it would make sense. So to know you had them both in your company at the same time, and now they're just fucking killing it, man, I would personally, if I was Tony, I'd be sick, bro. But again, we don't know all of what happened, especially on the CM Punk or on either side, really. So who knows? He could have been completely justified, but man, especially with the Cody one, man, like, I would have done what I needed to do to try to keep that one locked down. Punk, again, shit happens, but man, like, we don't have time to get into that whole handling, but it would be fun to maybe revisit the whole brawl out and everything that happened, and just in retrospect, like, with like hindsight is 2020 type thing, and just looking at it with 2025 eyes, which is crazy. Someone said, oh my god, they mentioned the pandemic, and they were like, when in the pandemic 5 years ago, and I was like, oh my god, dude, it's been 5 years since the pandemic. Like, that's fucking crazy, dude. Like, it's insane. Like, time is just insane. But back to the card here, and this match just kind of makes my skin crawl having to talk about it. But we have Big Boom, AJ, and the conglomeration, which is Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe, of course, with Big Old Justice facing off against Johnny TV and MXM Collection, Mansoor and Mason Madden. This is obviously a trios match. Wonder if we're gonna get the Rizzler, that little guy who rubs his chin. Word on the street is last time he was at AEW, and of course he was the time, or I don't know if he was the official timekeeper as well, but he was the bell ringer. He got injured, guys. He injured his hand, so it's look. Wrestling is dangerous, okay? So I don't know if the Rizzler's gonna be able to make it back yet. You know, the recovery time does get to be a little iffy, and especially at that age, man, it's a very delicate age. So recovery can be iffy. So I don't know if we're gonna get the Rizzler. I know you guys are tuning in for it, so I apologize. I don't have the confirmation on that. I will try to do better at my job next time. But the Rizzler is still TBD. So if you guys don't watch Revolution, or at least the pre-show, I understand. Let AEW know. I'm don't shoot the messenger, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here relaying what I know. And we don't know what's going on with the Rizzler. So we will follow up on that when we get the information that we need. So I hope everything is good on the road to recovery for the Rizzler. It is a serious thing. No laughing matter. Injuries are injuries, guys. So I hope the Rizzler is doing well. You can't start off the new year. I was gonna say on the wrong foot. Too bad he didn't injure his foot. That'd be great. But you can't start off the new year injured, man. You know, you gotta stay strong. So T's and P's to the Rizzler, man. Thoughts and prayers to the Rizzler. So this match, though, I really could give two shits about. Big Boom is gonna win because that's what he does, right? And he even said, I think Big Justice is gonna be the world champion one day, and I just died a little bit on the inside. So if that's the case, I I pray for us in the future. I pray for future Ashley and for future us, because God help us. That would just not be great. Yeah, I will probably not be watching that. And again, to be fair, the match that he had with QT Marshall, whenever that was, it was good. You know, like it was the classic pro wrestling match, right? So fun, cool, good for you. It's just not my bag, man. I can't get into like. And to be fair, he was a wrestler right in the past, so cool, good for him. I can't get into a dude who like it's a Costco guy, you know what I mean? Like, not even shaming, like, you make your bag however you can. If you review toilet paper, good for you, bro. I'm so happy for you. Like, make your millions, do what you gotta do. I don't care about that. But when it blends into my wrestling world, man, and I'm supposed to take it seriously, or not, maybe seriously isn't the right word, but like the fact that it's a match, and again, not on the actual pay-per-view card itself, so I can't be but too irritated by it. But it's attached to the pay-per-view, and it's eating up TV time. And I feel like everything I say is a bit dramatic, and I don't mean for it to be, because I'm sure there are people out there that enjoy it. It's just not for me, man. And it just grinds my gears just seeing it being on TV, because what is it leading to? You know what I mean? And I get, like, there can be like a comedy match, or like, you know, like not everything has to be so serious, but like it's the chocolate, it's the chocolate chip cookies, man. That for real, like that's what it is for me. Like and everything has to be a boom or a doom. Like, it's just so cringe. Like, it doesn't, every other word doesn't have to be boom or doom or nothing like that. It's like the freaking Rollins, Seth freaking Rollins. Like, say his name without saying freaking. Like, he is Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to say boom or doom for everything. So that is my continuous gripe with the boomsters, with the Costco guys. I mean, it's obvious who's going to win the match. So and if it wasn't Big Boom, you know, if it wasn't Orange Cassidy's in the match, so you know Orange Cassidy's going to win. But getting on to the actual card itself, we have Will Ospreay facing off against Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match. I mean, this speaks for itself too, right? Like fucking Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. It's gonna be. I'm almost scared to think of what they're gonna do and what they're gonna attempt to do in this cage match. I just envision something insane off of the top of the cage, and I hope that they are gonna be safe. You know what I mean? Like obviously the professionals, they know what to do. So it's not a matter of that. I just it's just one of those things where it's like, oh man, it's like a car crash waiting to happen in like the best way possible. So I'm very much looking forward to this match, and I'm really curious to see who wins. I really like I want both of them to win for almost the same reason. But Osprey in the sense that I really thought that he could have been positioned to be a main event guy and potentially one to dethrone Moxley. I don't think he's going to be that guy now. I was torn in the beginning months of this when Moxley first started this whole angle if it was going to be Hangman or Osprey. My early pick was Osprey just because of the momentum and just the force that he came in with, man. Like he just really grabbed the audience and really migrated and transitioned into American TV, like the US like filming way and week to week television tremendously. So I will always give him props for that too. Like he did a fantastic job with that. And that's why I thought he was gonna end up being the guy to dethrone Moxley. Now maybe he still will, but I don't think he's gonna be that guy now. So that was always my kind of argument too with making sure he stays strong and gets wins and stuff. But Osprey is kind of like Bryan Danielson, like I've mentioned before, where he can take maybe and sustain maybe a little bit more losses than your average, like good guy could or should. Still maybe not be the best thing, but he always finds a way to not even bounce back, but to just keep afloat. And it's just really impressive. And it speaks to his power as well, his star power. So props to him for that. But Kyle Fletcher, man, and again, talking about Hills, I will still stand on this one. I still think he should be Okada in the Continental Classic tournament. I especially because we haven't done shit with Okada, and I guess we're still waiting for Okada and Kenny Omega eventually, which seems to be the rumored thing heading into All In. Which we knew back then, right? When Kenny came back, obviously, because he confronted Okada. But we'll get to that once a little bit later in the show. But like Kyle Fletcher, man, like he was really gaining and building. I hate saying momentum, right? Like that keyword, but he was really building and adding and creating his character, right? Like he was becoming this new version of himself. And I'm not going to say they like cut it out from underneath of him, but they really stalled that momentum. And I keep going back to that word, but they really stalled it, man. Like, and they really stalled his progress. And again, like he's not in a bad place right now. Clearly is not in a bad place. Like he was on the Grand Slam card, but he's in tag matches. He was in a tag match, and I'm just with the inclusion of Mark Davis again, it makes me nervous for him. So I would say like it's really a toss up. Like who needs to win more in this one? And I I really think Fletcher needs to win more, but I think Osprey's gonna win this to kind of blow it off for now and keep Osprey strong. But what does Osprey even do going forward? Is my thought as well. But we'll see. But I think the match itself is gonna be just insane. So my official pick is gonna be Osprey, but I honestly love to see Fletcher win too, though. And speaking of Okada, we have Okada defending his Continental Championship against Brody King. This is kind of like a last-minute match. This is going to be a fun match, I think, to watch, and it's going to be fun to see what Brody King can do against Okada. But no question, Okada's going to win here. It's just really like weird what they're doing with the Hounds of Hell. Brody King and Buddy Matthews. I think Buddy is out, if I'm not mistaken, because of his foot injury from the not wrong ring that people are talking about, right? Or that was the ring scandal. What was it? Ringgate. That he may or may not have gotten injured in. But yeah, this match is going to be fine. It's going to be probably a little bit of a hard-hitting match too, depending on what version of Okada we get. But Okada's going to retain here, no question. And then I'll just get to the other match, which we have on the card, which is Konosuke Takeshita facing off against Kenny Omega for the International Championship. This one, I do see a title change happening. I think Omega is going to dethrone Takeshita. Not that I necessarily would want that, but I think what it's setting up is a title versus title match at possibly All In, if not All In, maybe Double or Nothing. But I think a big match like that they're going to want to do at All In just because it's going to be a stadium show, right? Like you need to have big matches, and Okada and Omega, it sells itself right there. But I think and I hope they're going to make it title versus title, but I hope it's going to be like a title unification. So whoever wins they win merges into that one. And honestly though, like I would get rid of the international championship and keep the continental championship. And because I like the tournament idea that they do, but well, maybe not. Because I was gonna say because I like the tournament idea, but you could potentially merge the championships, right? Because well, I guess too, like if he had Omega win, he's the international championship, he would obviously be obtaining the continental. And imagine introducing him as that, right? He is the AEW International and Continental Champion. Like, he's like pretty much like the world champion. Like when you add all that up, but it's just gonna be a mouthful, and they need to get rid of it. They're pretty much like redundant championships, in my opinion. But I really like the Continental Classic tournament, so I think that you can get just remove the championship aspect of it and keep that for what many others have said as well, and make that for the winner of the tournament gets a shot at the AEW championship, because it makes no sense that some people have to go, just depending on the time of the year, some people have to go through this grueling tournament just to face off against the champion, when you can literally just, like Omega is doing, or like Brody King is doing, just get a championship match. You know what I mean? So it makes no sense. So they really need to change the format of that. Or the stakes for it at least. But other than that, like I love the tournament idea, and I think that's been a hit. So props to them for that. But that's where I kind of foresee that long term, Omega winning the championship and then them hopefully merging the titles, because it would eliminate obviously one less title too, and just kind of like not make things so muddy. So I think it would be a win-win, really. And that's okay too. Like, fuck, WWE merged titles before and then they unmerged them, multiple times. So it's fine. It's not even admitting that you're wrong either. Like, you're just trying stuff. And that's what kind of like bums me out by AEW. I feel like sometimes they're like afraid to admit something didn't work. And like, well, I don't see why that's a negative or a bad thing. Like, so many things people do in life, and like so many things that I've done. Like, I've tried and shit doesn't work. Like, but you don't know it unless you try. So again, like my opinion, like you have too many titles, get rid of the redundant ones. And I think this is the best way to do it. Now, if they do it, maybe not, we'll see. But if not, like I at least do like a hard brand split, Collision, one roster for Collision, one roster for Dynamite. I've always been a fan of that. And then it would separate these almost redundant championships, because in my opinion, it's like not really like a US and an intercontinental, but you have it, but it kind of is too, because you have those two, and then you still have the TNT championship. So that's where there's just at least one too many, if not two too many. So I think at least get rid of the Continental Championship, keep the tournament, change the outcome and the stakes for it, call it a day. Now, another match, and it's still crazy to me that we hadn't gotten it in the past, is MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. I really enjoyed the build to this as well. I am one of those people, like I've heard like a couple shows say that they're not a fan of MJF yelling, or maybe he yells too much. I kind of agree with that. I think it's like it's fitting in certain moments, but like he does yell too much in my opinion. But other than that, like I really enjoy I think I'm enjoying the Hangman side of the build more than the MJF. Like this version of Hangman, I really like the transition that they've done too, with him like transitioning back into the good guy side and really trying to morph into the Hangman that we all loved. And he already has the fan support, right? But it's building and building back to what it used to be. And I really think that they should get props for that too, because when you think back on what he did last year, and like that battle that he had with Swerve and burning that house down and all that shit, it was like, how is he ever like gonna be? And not that he was like viciously booed or anything, but it's like, yo, how can he ever be a good guy? And I think they really handled that with care, and they've really done a great job. And they're not rushing it, and it wasn't just like a jolt, like a Chris Statlander. Like 1 week she's a good guy, 1 week she's a bad guy. You know what I mean? I was like, well, why? Like, why are you turning on Willow? Like, what? Why are you back friends with Willow? Like, why? Like, why? So I really enjoyed, or have been enjoying, their build. I love was it the Rivian or whatever with the horns on the front? I guess he got rid of his Tesla because that was his first big purchase when he won the championship, was that Tesla with the horns. So, but this match I think is gonna be great too. We're definitely gonna get blood. Well, I'm not gonna say definitely, but I'd be surprised if we didn't. With this one though, winning, I think, and it depends on how long they want to drag this out. But drag this out sounds harsh, but how long they want this program to extend it is a little bit better way, I guess. And I feel like MJF is gonna win the first one, and then Hangman's gonna, because they always three-peat it, right? I think Hangman's gonna end up getting obviously the better of MJF as a whole, but I think MJF starts off here. Now, unless you're just a one and done, then I can see Hangman, but if not, I think it's gonna be MJF, and then they kind of go from there. Because that leads me to the next match on the card, which is Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet. And I think Hangman being engulfed with MJF right now is occupying Hangman until we get back to a return with Swerve Strickland. And hear me out. I think this is how we get to it. So Swerve's match with Ricochet is technically for the number one contendership shot at the AEW World Championship, right? But unofficially for the robe as well. And do we get to see Samantha Irving, right? The adjustments or modifications or whatever word Ricochet used. Yo, what if it's Samantha in that robe? Bruh. Like, can you imagine? Oh, that would just be prime. Like, Ricochet, or like not even his music hits. Like, it's Ricochet's turn to come out. And right, like either you hear Samantha first, or you just have like the lights go out and there's just a spotlight and it's on her, right? But she's standing in the robe and she's holding a microphone, and then she introduces Ricochet. Now she'll probably get cheered, which defeats the purpose of Ricochet. But can you imagine? Like, I just think that'd be such a cool visual for her. Now again, like if she's actually gonna come in at all, but if she did come in and became his manager, it may be counterproductive again, because I feel like people would love her, but we don't know like how good she would be at getting people to hate her either. We've never seen her in that avenue, right? Like, she's just always been an amazing ring announcer. So I think if Tony Khan can scoop her up, 100% do it. Now, how she's presented, it's because that was like the thing that she was saying when she left WWE too, that she wanted to do more and she didn't want to just be a ring announcer. So, I think it's just a matter of time until she gets into AEW, if she does want to pursue wrestling, because I think she's also producing music as well, or creating music. So she's definitely got a lot of stuff going on. But I just think it'd be such a cool visual, man, just to have the lights go out. She walks onto the stage, spotlight hits her, she's in the robe, and the robe is just glistening, you know what I mean? And then she just announces Ricochet. I think it'd be great. But again, I don't think it's gonna get Ricochet. It's gonna be maybe like a weird, like Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth type of dynamic, right? Where like everyone loves Miss Elizabeth, but everyone despises Macho Man, right? Or not despises him, but just like it's like, yo, like, why are you treating her that way? You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I think it could be great. But my point in going off of this match as well is the main thing is the number one contendership spot for the AEW Championship. Now, I do see Swerve winning this match. Ricochet, and I don't think Ricochet is gonna take any, like, he's gonna be damaged at all by losing. If anything, again, I will give them props, and I will give Ricochet props for the character revitalization and this change in Ricochet that we've seen, and this new version of him. It is kind of cringe, some points with his laugh, but that's the point of it, and he knows it, and he's playing into it. So I really dig that, and what he's done It's sometimes, with this, like, I don't like the scissor aspect at all. I don't like them stabbing each other with scissors. I'm not here for that at all. It's just one of those things that I just feel like it's unneeded. Like, the initial attack, okay, but like now we're just all walking around with scissors and shit. Like, just that's just a little bit unnecessary for me, because the story is actually good with this. Like, the story doesn't have to be based on a weapon. Like, that's what it was with Omega. Like in the screwdriver with Don Callis, it's like, why that can be, pun intended, a tool used in it, but it shouldn't and doesn't have to be the actual story itself. Just another mechanism to get us to the actual story and the outcome that you want to get to, in my opinion. So I don't know, but I do see this one being done after this, though, because how long can you go on with this? And I think they've done, like I said, a really good job with the story, and I'm surprised that they got as much out of it as they did. Just because I didn't see that going into it, and I think Ricochet has a lot of, or deserves a lot of praise for that, and the continuation for this, and making it to where, in my opinion, it's not like dreadful TV. Like, I'm not gonna say you go into it looking forward to it, or like, oh, I can't wait for that Ricochet and Swerve segment, but I maybe was looking forward to that segment on the contract signing or whatever, to see what Ricochet is going to say regarding the robe and stuff, and just to see how it plays out. And Swerve has become a star too in AEW, so I really dig the handling of both of them. And it, because if you think about it, it could have been very easy for Ricochet to just come in and play the hits and just be Ricochet, and the Ricochet we know. And yes, he would have maybe got, not even maybe, but he would have gotten lost in the shuffle, but we would have seen him once every other month or so, or maybe on Collision. But no, like, he really embraced the heat and the hatred that he was getting from the fans and the toilet paper and all that stuff, and he really turned it around. So it's props to both of them. But I do see, like I said, Swerve winning this and getting the championship match with potentially Moxley, or Cope, right? But I think that I'll just get to, I know this is out of order, right? It's sacrilege to talk about the main event prior to the main event, right? But just to kind of tie it all in together, I do see Moxley retaining the championship. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Copeland won, though. I had this funny feeling that he might, to be honest with you. I'll table that for a second. But if my, like, if I had to make a money pick, it would be on Moxley. So just, scenario, if Moxley wins, I could see us getting Swerve and Moxley at, what's the next pay-per-view? Double or Nothing, I would imagine. I could see them getting, or having the championship match there. And I don't know. I don't know if Swerve is really going to be the one to dethrone Moxley, but it would just be odd to me if Copeland was, right? So after all this time, and it just really depends on the focus and, like, the tone of the build to Swerve and Moxley as well too. So I think if it's not going to be Copeland, and it does, when we end up getting Strickland versus Moxley, that is going to be the first real title match. Is like, oh shit, like, Moxley can really be dethroned here. And again, maybe some people are thinking that a little bit more with this one. I don't think Copeland is gonna win, and I don't want him to win. And again, like, I'm a big Edge fan, like, no hate or shade in that regard. I just don't feel like for this particular moment in story, I don't feel like he would be the best one to end the Death Riders. I say that, but I 100% want this story to end, right? And I want them to be dethroned so we can move the fuck on. But I just don't think it's happening right now, just because I don't think Copeland's going to be that guy. So officially, I'm picking Moxley to retain, so we get Strickland and Moxley at the next pay-per-view. And I'm going to kind of hold off on an official prediction for that. But my thoughts for that was, if we do end up getting Moxley and Strickland does end up dethroning Moxley, then that sets up Hangman versus Swerve at All In, which I think would be a good match, and it's the perfect setting for Hangman. But again, I can see where Moxley retains and carries the championship into All In to make it even more of a big moment for potentially Hangman to dethrone Moxley. So we'll see, right? Like, that's still long-term-ish, but just one of the routes I see potentially that they can go down. Now, if Copeland wins, though, and Copeland dethrones Moxley, I can see it being very brief. I think that possibly Copeland would win the championship, right? Maybe like maybe a quick victory, like a quick roll up, or maybe just beats him decisively. But then our old buddy Christian comes out and cashes in his not money in the bank briefcase, clipboard, whatever he has, and takes the title from Copeland. And then we end up leaving Revolution with Christian Cage as our champion. Can you imagine? But he's got to do something with that contract at some point, right? If not, then what are we doing? Now if he successfully wins it, that's another case. But I think at this point it'd be kind of like odd if he does. But can we really see Christian as the AEW World Champion? I don't know. And that's what kind of makes it fun too, right? To see how this all plays out. But what better way and who better to crush Copeland's dreams of being the AEW World Champion and having like a nice run with the championship title than his former best friend, right? The guy that told him to go fuck himself. So I think that'd be really cool. Not really. Yeah, I think it would be really cool because it'd be fun to watch play out, right? I still would kind of feel like some type of way about we went through this whole Death Rider thing for Adam Copeland to dethrone Moxley. And again, no shame to Edge, right? Like I fucking love Edge. Like I hold Edge higher than a lot of people do. A lot of people don't give him a lot of credit or the credit I feel like he deserves for being like one of not even life, for being one of the main event guys back in the ages of WWE when it was hard for bad guys to really be successful. And his run against John Cena and the feud that they had just really sold him for me. So I always give Edge props, and I think that he deserves more credit than what he has gotten as a main event guy. Like, yeah, he's not the best on the mic or anything like that, but he always has passion, man. Like he always is fired up. Like he's just always present. So I don't know. Like it's no hate on that, but it would just be surprising for me to go all this time and with this type of story and have someone who's not even an AEW original dethrone Moxley. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Now, if this was, still or even just Copeland period going for the AEW championship in a different time in a different story, then yeah, it would be more believable for me, or I would be more okay with it. But I just feel like with at least the perception of Moxley's story that I've gotten, it's set up for an AEW original, or if not an exact original, like someone who's been there for years and their name wasn't made in WWE to dethrone him. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But the last matchup that we have on the card is our old timeless Toni Storm, our women's world champion, facing off against Mariah May. Oh, and we do have Mercedes. I was about to say, like, I know we have the TBS championship match. Timeless Toni Storm, and the sit down segment that she had with Mariah May and Renee, I almost said, yeah, Renee Paquette. I loved it. I just love Toni's presentation, man. Like I know she's it's subjective for a lot of people, but I really enjoy her, and I think it's, again, she's just someone who really took this new environment being in AEW and created this character, and she just really hit the ground running with it. And again, props to Tony Khan for giving her the freedom and giving them the freedom to do that. And I really, it's just crazy to think of where she was in WWE and where she's at now. So all the credit to her. I love the character. I think the gratuitous nude scene that was removed from the Queen of the Ring, shame on them. She's just fantastic, dude. She's just fucking fantastic. And Mariah May, I think Mariah May was the star of that sit down segment that I was just talking about. The spit to Tony was disgusting. But Mariah has really made a name for herself as well. But I really want to see what these two women can do apart from each other as well. I want Tony to retain. I think she will, just because I think it'll be too soon just to flip flop the titles back and forth. So I think Tony retains here and we move forward. And it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with Mariah May, though, too. Will Mariah go after Mercedes? So, that could be fun. We'll see about that. And I think eventually we're going to end up getting Timeless Toni Storm versus Mercedes. maybe a double or nothing. I think it'd be cool to have like a champion versus champion match. It's just so crazy to me too that you never see either of the women's champions interact. They don't talk about each other. It's like they almost don't know each other exist. And that's just so crazy to me. Unless I've missed something, but it's just so crazy to me. So can we just get something? Just even them like walking up to each other face to face or some type of acknowledgement just to even put the seed out there. So officially I picked Toni Storm, and I think this match is going to be really fun. I can't wait to see it. But speaking of Mercedes, I believe that is the last match on the card. I hope I didn't skip any. No. So again, weird order, sorry guys, but it's just the lay of the land and how I see some matches tying into each other. But we have Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion, facing off against Momo Watanabe. And I'm sorry guys, but I know little to nothing about Momo. I hear she is a great wrestler. And no disrespect, I just there's just so much to keep up on, and I'm just sorry, guys. I don't know much about her. But I'm sure it's gonna be a good match. You know what I mean? To be fair, as well, Mercedes has been having not even like good as a minimum, but like I said, good to great matches. The one with Dr. Britt Baker was obviously not that swell, but Mercedes has been delivering in the ring, and I think that they have really found like a sweet spot for her character. So I'm really interested to see what she does going forward as well. And that's why I was saying potentially we can get an interaction between her and Mariah May, or just do something. Eminem versus Eminem, Mercedes Moné versus Mariah May. That's crazy. But yeah, I obviously see Mercedes retaining here. But I think it's gonna be a good match. So Mercedes just continues to rack up her victories, and potentially she holds like 4 titles right now. It's crazy. But guys, that is the card. We will be wrapping up here. I'm going to go through your comments here, and then I will be jumping off. I have a lunch that I have to attend. Yeah, Sean, it was a real injury. Yeah, Travis Scott clocked the fuck out of Cody and busted his eardrum, I heard. What up, Fernando? What up, my friend? What up? Yeah, Fernando, you said the heel turn is worthless if Cena doesn't win the championship. Yeah, man. Early thoughts, I think he will win the championship. I kind of feel bad though, or not feel bad, but I'm kind of iffy, so I'm not gonna make an official prediction. But I feel like that's the direction we're going in. It'd be crazy if we did all this and he didn't. But I'm almost like, man, like, do we want Cody to lose too? So we'll see, man. We will see. CB, you said I think Rock will fuck Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Well, I mean, I don't know how Brady would feel about that. Giving the win and 17th championship to John Cena. Well, I hope not, because then Cody will be losing twice that night. I know what you mean though, man. Oh, what up, Sean? Thanks for that. I appreciate your contributions, man, in the super chat. You say the Omega Takeshita build was so bad. They could have done so much more to hype that match. 3 of the matches shouldn't even be on the show. Yeah, dude. I will say I enjoyed it, and thank you again, Sean. I appreciate you, bro. You're a real one, man. I appreciate you always are supportive for so many people, man. So I appreciate you. But I will say though, I did enjoy the video package that they put together. I think it was on Dynamite that they aired, showing the origin and a young Takeshita and Kenny Omega back in New Japan with their first matches against each other. So I did enjoy the video package. But yeah, the build, other than that, it's felt forced, and it was just so dumb to me that Omega called out Takeshita for the international championship match, but then no, there has to be like a little mini series. And who was it? Roderick Strong, and fuck, who was the other guy? Oh my god, I'm blanking. Oh my god. It was Roderick Strong and God, I can't remember. But it was a match where we knew like Orange Cassidy. Wasn't it Orange Cassidy? I think it was Orange Cassidy. But it didn't even matter because we knew Takeshita was gonna, because then the winner of that match was gonna face Takeshita for the actual championship match, and then whoever became the champion or retained the championship would then face Omega. It's like, why? Like, why? Like, Omega, like, that was, like, so you mean, like, if Roderick Strong would have won, it was going to be Omega versus Strong? Like, no, like, Omega specifically challenged Takeshita. But, yeah, it was just, like, absurd. Like, You're going around the block when you could have just gone straight. So it's just dumb, dude. But yeah, I appreciate you, Sean. Thank you, man. Yeah, dude. You say freaking Big Boom AJ needs to go away. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, man. It bothers me more than it really should, to be honest with you. James Weston, you said Cena's heel turn was great. It inspired me to turn heel at my job. I support you, James. I support that. Yeah. Yeah. Do. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie when it is. Paul Heyman did it best. Do. Man, Paul Heyman's great, bro. And Fernando, you say it was a mistake for not having Osprey and Omega at the Go Home Dynamite show. Yeah. Oh, I haven't even seen the ratings, dude. But yeah, I was really surprised. I think Osprey was there though, right? Wasn't Osprey in the? Wasn't he in the match? And because I think Osprey was there in the main event because they had was like a 4-way, like an 8-man tag or some shit, and Fletcher ended up coming out. If I'm not conflating. But yeah. James said TK didn't know what to do with them when he had them except write paychecks. Yeah, I mean, props to them for collecting them checks though. And I will always give Tony Khan and AEW credit though for bringing our guy CM Punk back though, because I think he eventually, especially when Triple H took over in WWE, I think it would have became a thing, but it still would have. I don't think we would have gotten it until it would have been 4 or 5 years delayed. But I will always give him credit for that. Yes, Fernando, yes. I wish I could pin that. Lame as hell, bro. 100%. You're nice. I appreciate you, James. Sean, you say Sean Osprey needs to win? Yeah, man. Yeah. JLP Productions, 1995. You say need to talk WWE more? Man, we talked I think it was like the first 40 minutes or so about WWE. No, James, no, I cannot. And E-Man Lopez, what up, bro? You say if Brody is in WWE, he'd be a monster. Yeah, dude. Yeah. And what up, man? Welcome to the chat. But yeah, he'd be fucking monster, dude. It'd be. Can you imagine Brody King versus Jacob Fatu? Like, oh, that's insane. That would be wild. That would be wild. I appreciate the compliments though, James. I mean, no, you say you'd rather watch TNA. Yo, like TNA's been better lately. It's been a lot better. Just gotta give it some time, man. Gotta give it some time. E-Man Lopez, thoughts on Punk? Long story short, he's my guy, dude. He is my guy. Sai say not related to anything, Ash, but if you ever pick up W2K25, you'd be happy to kick my ass. Yeah, you probably would, dude. I fucking suck at wrestling video games, dude. And that's what makes me so frustrated with them. I suck at it. But I have been debating on getting the game. A couple people said that I should get it and maybe do like a stream of it or something, but I have no idea how to stream video games. But yeah, dude, I might take you up on that. For sure. Is it one of those, what is it called, like cross-gen, where you can play like on different consoles? Like I could play against you on like Xbox, for instance, or you have to have like the same console? But I love the graphics though. It's fucking sick. Fucking sick. But yeah, we'll be wrapping up here though soon because I do have to jump off. But what up, Hassan? What up? What up? Yeah, of course. Randy Savage is the guy. Yeah, Fernando. The robe is a huge part of the story. A huge part of the story. And you think Prince Nana is going to turn on Swerve? I thought about that too. That's a good point you brought up there. I thought about that briefly. Just because I think Swerve would be great on his own too. But I don't know. Like, it would be, I guess, maybe a fun dynamic to see Prince Nana, Ricochet together, and possibly Smith or Irvin. A fun little trio there. We'll see though. But yeah, we will be wrapping up here, like I said, because I do have to go. I have to be somewhere at 12:30. But guys, I appreciate you all so much for jumping in and watching along with me, being a part of the chat. If you're watching live, I appreciate you. If you're watching on replay, I appreciate that also. It was a stacked show. We had a lot to get into. Of course, we'll talk about the fallout from Revolution next week. I think, yeah, next week I'll be good. I did take time off. Next week is actually my birthday week, so yeah, I will be here for next Saturday, but I don't think I'll be here for the following week. I'm taking a little vacation time then, so I will keep everyone posted on that on next week's show. But yes, thank you guys, like I said, for joining me. I truly appreciate everyone here. If you watched live, if you're in the chats, I appreciate that. Sean, I appreciate you, man. You're the best. I appreciate you. Sai, all the new people, JLP, James, appreciate you, man. E, you're always the first one in, man. Fernando, Hassan, all you guys. There's a lot of you guys in here today. Iman, I appreciate it. Anthony, the boss, of course. If I missed you, I'm sorry. But I love the little community, guys. I love that everyone pops in here and we can bullshit, talk in the chats, all have different opinions, but that's what makes wrestling so great. So until next week, guys. But again, I may do something tomorrow on my channel on YouTube at KickAsh Podcast. We are officially a partner on YouTube over at the KickAsh Podcast, which is crazy. Like, I got the little notification the other day. It was pretty dope. So I want to say thank you for all you guys. For joining me over there too, and the contributions that you made to my little channel over there. I truly appreciate it. I just love getting on here and talking shit with you guys about wrestling and just taking a break from the real world, right? So, as always, guys, thank you so much for joining me today, watching live or on replay. Possibly do something on my channel, like I said, tomorrow. But if not, until next time, stay safe out there, everyone, and enjoy some wrestling. Take care, guys.